Well, a few years ago, I was at Blockbuster. Remember Blockbuster? And it was up on Strickland and Leesville Road, I think. And there was a lady working there named Margie. And when I was there, no one else was there, just Margie. And so I was walking around and picked out a couple movies and came up to the checkout. And I said something to her like, wow, the store is really empty. And then she said, yeah, I really hate being dead. And when I walked outside, I actually wrote down what she said. Because that sort of struck me and it made me laugh, really. And I said, yeah, I do too. And so she just kind of looked at me, and I looked at her, and I guess we both agreed, yeah, we hate being dead. Don't you hate being dead? Now, and when I say that, I'm not talking about being physically dead, your physical body dropping, and because you still are alive at that point. I'm not talking about being at work and being so bored that you feel like you're half dead. But I'm talking about when we live life and we're sort of just half full. We're living life and we're just going through the motions. And so we're lacking power and passion and purpose, and we're just trying to get by. And there's not much really happening inside of us. I received an email from a lady that I had known some time ago, and she was asking for advice, I suppose, or maybe just wanting to share what she was feeling. And I asked her permission if I could share some of the email with others. And she said I could, because I told her that I thought her words could help others maybe see life in a different way. And she wrote this: I'm just waiting for something good to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. I feel so dead inside and bored with life. Nothing has turned out the way I thought. I wonder what happened to my passion. And I'm just taking parts of what she wrote. I don't know what to do. And then again, she said, I feel dead inside. I've been waiting on some kind of sign, something to knock me back on course. But it ain't coming. So could we talk? And in the conversation, I remember she mentioned sign several times. She said things like, I'm just looking for a sign. I just need a sign. I don't know which road to take, what direction to take. I just need a sign. And I don't know if you ever felt like that. When I grew up, the religious people around me, I would hear that often, that I'm waiting for a sign. I'm just waiting on the Lord. And so the Lord will tell me what to do. I just need a sign. And I thought a lot about her words. I thought a lot about her words and reflected on them before I talked with her. And I knew what those words felt like because I had felt things similar to that. And so I want to share with you today some things that sort of came up as I thought about her and thought about the words, because I think her words can describe most of us at one point or the other. And the first thing that I concluded as I reflected on it was that one thing that's required if you really want to feel alive is commitment. Now, commitment might be a dirty word for you. Sometimes we may not feel comfortable with the word commitment. It seems so big. And so if you don't like that word, you can substitute the word decision, or you can substitute the word choice. But either way, we must make a decision, a choice, or a commitment in order to really create passion and energy in our lives. Sometimes facts confuse us, and facts are those things that are happening around us. One thing we know about facts are that facts are constantly changing. Your fact may be one thing today, but by this afternoon, it may not be there anymore. It may change. And so they come and they go. And they tend to steal our passion and our joy at times, especially if we perceive them to be negative facts. You may be having some facts right now. You may be going through some facts. You may be going through some financial facts, or maybe job facts, or relationship facts, or health facts. And so you look at those facts and they can become so huge, they overshadow your life. And so then we sort of back into a corner and we just pray for a sign, wait for a sign, and hope something is going to show up. And we spend a lot of time waiting. And so what I want to suggest to you and to me today is, instead of keeping our eyes on the facts, I'm going to suggest that we take our eyes and put our attention, our concentration someplace else. I'm going to suggest that we rivet our attention on the power and the presence of Spirit, whatever that means to you. Because Spirit will make a much prettier picture often than the facts around us. Spirit and truth, they don't change, but the facts change all the time. And so that is the kind of commitment and decision I'm talking about. I'm talking about making a decision to focus not on the facts, and I'm not talking about putting your head in the sand like an ostrich, but I am talking about placing your attention on something that's more stable than just the facts that go up and down. And if we choose that kind of path, what happens is we begin to feel enthusiasm. We begin to feel some passion for life. We begin to feel some movement in life instead of just waiting. And even if negative experiences come nigh your dwelling place, the Bible says that, if they come nigh your dwelling place, they cannot enter into your sacred space. And if one was really sneaky and did get in, it would be evicted almost immediately because of your spiritual practice. Because your practice of choosing to focus on those things that do not change, those qualities of God, that inoculates you from any negative experience that could occur. So it gives you tremendous power. And so even though all of you, of course, are deeply spiritual and you operate at a very high level, as I do, of course, and so we're operating at this high level, but we still often stand at a crossroads where we do have to make a choice, we do have to make a decision one way or the other. Like the lady said that wrote to me, my friend, she said, I'm just waiting. She said, I don't know what else to do but wait. And she said, I'm waiting for a sign. And I don't know if you've ever waited for a sign. I hear people, even in our community, sometimes talk about they're looking for a sign and hoping a sign will occur. And what happens often when we do that is we put our life on hold. What we do is put the car in park and we just wait. We take our life very much like it's food at a nice restaurant. We put it in a doggy bag so we can enjoy it later maybe. And so we're not living our life in the present moment because we're waiting on a sign. I suppose that means we're waiting on some kind of guidance. Master J, and to you, you know him as Jesus, he said, and these are some different verses from different locations, but he said this, why are you looking for the living among the dead? The spiritually dead look for a sign, but none will be given. That's a pretty strong statement. They must be awakened from their sleep. They must rise up and choose. He said then, signs follow those who are committed. And so that's important, and I'm going to say it probably a dozen times. Signs follow those who are committed, those who have made a decision. The Bible in other places says that once you're committed, this is from the 23rd Psalm, it says, goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. And so you're walking down the road and you feel like something's behind you, and lo and behold, what is it? Well, it's goodness and mercy. It's joy, it's peace, it's all of those beautiful qualities, but that's because the person's made a commitment, and so those signs follow you wherever you go. Sign after sign. So the blessings follow a commitment. Signs follow a shift in consciousness. It means a shift in your point of view. It means a shift in the way you're looking at life. It means I've been looking at life this way, but now I'm going to look at it in a brand new way. And when that happens, signs will begin to follow. Now, it doesn't mean that you lie on your couch and you wait for someone to knock on the door. You know, I'm not going to mention someone fell asleep, but no, I'm just kidding. It's a sign. And that's because we're all so committed. You see what happens? You commit and the light falls down. Before we're finished, all of these lamps will fall. If that's our intention, it may well not be. But if you're just hanging out on the couch, in relationship coaching, I talk to people, and often people have the idea that if they just kind of lie on the couch and think happy thoughts, he or she is going to knock on the door and say, here I am, I've been looking for you. But life doesn't happen that way. Signs don't show up unless we take action, unless we make a decision, unless we do something. And so I know sometimes we're just waiting for success. We're waiting for the promotion. We're waiting for some special spiritual moment in our lives, but none, Jesus said, would take place until we really do make a strong commitment of some kind. And so often what we're thinking is that once the sign gets here, then I'll really live life with passion. I'll really live life full out. And I'm suggesting to you, waiting is sort of for the birds. It's not for highly developed spiritual beings like you. Just waiting sometimes is a waste of time, because you're a creator, and that means you have the ability and the power to choose. And just waiting for something to come out is almost surrendering your leadership. Surrendering your leadership. Someone said years ago, and I heard it and I've remembered it to this point, never surrender your leadership. Never surrender your leadership to someone else. Never surrender your leadership to a sign or something you're hoping is going to happen and you're waiting for. And so let me give you some points. I like points always because that helps me remember how to do what I'm talking about. And so the first point, and you know it already because I've been talking about it, and that is you must make a commitment. Now, when I say that, I don't mean necessarily that you're going to come forward and we're going to sing Just As I Am, and you're going to get down and pray and ask Jesus into your heart or Buddha into your head or Mohammed into your body. We're not talking about anything like that, but we're talking about a real commitment. And so what are you going to commit to? And I'm going to suggest that you're going to commit to the qualities of God, qualities of God, qualities of spirit. And you're going to make a commitment to that, to take action, because that's exactly how our lives change. Sometimes we're looking for something so esoteric and so complex and so different. It's pretty simple, really. And so that's what this is talking about. It's not waiting for some special sign. It's not waiting for a moon rock to hit you in the head. It's not walking in the forest and waiting for some snake to get up and start talking to you. It's not waiting for those kinds of things. Instead, it's about making a decision. Making a decision. And so if you're making a decision to live out the qualities of God, it would mean that you commit to love. You commit to love. It means you commit to have peace. It means you commit to be patient. It means you commit to be kind. It means you take those qualities, those high qualities that all of us know, and we begin to commit to them. And to the degree that we make that kind of commitment, moment by moment, we will begin to see signs, because the signs are everywhere. We are surrounded by signs. You'll stop at a stoplight, and because you've made this kind of commitment to these kinds of qualities, you'll have a spiritual ecstasy experience right at the light, and you'll think, become still, and I know that God is God. You'll think this is a great moment to pause and to be thankful, to be grateful. Now, if you had not made any kind of commitment, you're just going to be thinking, when is this dumb light going to change? But if you've made those commitments, you see signs absolutely everywhere. It begins with divinity, knowing who you are. You're not just a human being, but you're divine. Divinity. And then you shift secondly to identity. And so whatever divinity is, you are it. And then you're going to begin to express that. You don't have to go dig in the dirt to find an Easter egg that says, this is my purpose on earth. Your purpose on earth is to realize you are divinity. That's your identity, and now begin to express it. Express it. Express it. That's why we're here. And when we do that, we feel such a great sense of purpose and such joy. But there's a trick to it. And it's important that I tell you the trick. The trick is this. The thing that you're looking for, you must be looking with. So that means this. You are love, and you're looking for love. It means you are peace, and you're looking for peace. It means you are joy, and you're looking for joy. You're looking for joy, and you're expressing joy because that's what you are. So the first thing you have to do is get clarity on the identity. You don't want to be thinking, I'm not love, I ain't got no love, I need love. And then go out and try to find love, because then you're like this vacuum cleaner trying to suck love out of everybody you meet, and people don't like it. Or if you're trying to find peace and you're thinking, I have no peace, I have no peace, I have no peace, and then trying to find peace. And so it doesn't work that way. So the trick is you do your internal work, you realize whatever it is you're seeking, it's within you, because divinity is within you. And then you begin to move in that direction, and that's when the magic absolutely happens. Now, I've seen at least a couple of ways people get into this kind of consciousness. Number one, sometimes people get into this kind of sign consciousness because they reach a point where they say, enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Life isn't working. I keep bumping into walls. Nothing is going well in my life. I guess I might as well try something spiritual, and they make some kind of spiritual commitment. So sometimes people enter this kind of sacred space, this kind of walk, because of pain. I'm not going to ask how many of you have done that, but I've done that a few times. Because sometimes, well, that method hurts. And so you're trying to find some way out of the pain. The second way that I've seen people enter this kind of commitment is out of a moment of inspiration. Maybe they hear something, they read something, they listen to a certain type of music, or something occurs. Maybe they're in nature and they're inspired. And so out of that inspiration, because they're moved and they're touched and they're lifted, they make a decision. They're going to have a spiritual, sacred kind of commitment of some kind. And so both of those are all right. One out of pain, one out of inspiration. But today I want to suggest another one. I want to suggest a third option. And so this is for all of us. And the option is that we don't have to hurt. The option is we don't have to be really here a cheerleader and get super inspired or excited. But that we simply sit where we are and we make a decision. We make a decision right now. Someone in the earlier service said, this sounds like an evangelical meeting. I thought you were going to call everybody to the front to receive the Lord. But that's not exactly what I'm doing, but I am saying you can make a decision. And I'm encouraging us to make a decision to commit ourselves to the qualities of Spirit. Otherwise, it's like we're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And maybe we say, I'm looking for a sign. I'm just looking for some guidance. But that could go on for years. I talk to people that have done that for years, and nothing much is happening. And so this is exactly how you do. If I were just talking to anybody, I'd say this is exactly how you do this spiritual thing. You commit to the qualities, the attributes of Spirit. If you do that, maybe you've been a 25-watt bulb. A couple of you look like you could be 50. Mark, 75 at least. And so wherever we happen to be, this is going to up-level your wattage. And I don't know how high the wattage can go, but it's going to cause your light to be much, much brighter. It is absolutely life-changing. Your children are going to say to you, what happened to you? Your parents may say, what's up? What's going on with you? People you work with, everybody will see something's changed. And it changes because of the internal commitment that you're making. So it's a decision. But there's a second trick to this. If you should say, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to commit to love. I'm going to love everybody. I'm just going to love and love and love and love. That's all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Your ego is going to slap you back and forth several times and say, what the hell is wrong with you? Because the ego gets really scared if you make a huge commitment. And so I want you to earth not earthworm it, I want you to centipede it. I want you to do segments. Do a segment. Do a segment in time. I know this works because I do this. And so you might say, for an hour, I'm going to be really loving. You might say, for a half hour, I'm going to be really patient no matter what happens. I'm going to concentrate on being patient. Or if all day, my day is dedicated to peace today. And so no matter what happens around me, that's what I'm doing. Your ego's okay if you do it for a day. Your ego's okay if you do it for an hour. A couple of you look like you could do it 5 minutes. So if you're going to do it for if you're going to do it for 5 minutes, nothing wrong with 5 minutes. You do 5 minutes and then you do another one, then you do another one, and then you do another one. That's where the power is. The power, as AA would say, is one day at a time, one step at a time. Remember, Michael Jackson, the old video, and I can't remember the name of it. Mark will tell me in a second. And the video is he's walking, and each time he takes a step, it lights up. Remember that? Nobody does? Cindy?
I don't.
You don't. What's a couple of his big songs? Billie Jean, Billie Jean, I'm my lover. That may be it. But each time he would take a step, it would light up. And that's exactly how we do this. Each time we take a step, we light up. But if you measure 100 miles, it's too heavy for us. So we do it a step at a time. And the ego is okay with that. And then we don't have to contract and draw back. So Abraham years ago called it segment intending, saying you have an intention, but you do it in segments, like from 10 until 12 and from 12 until 2. I'm calling it segment commitment. And so you can do it maybe for a longer period of time. Does that make sense to you? And so you do it a little bit, and you'll be amazed at what happens because signs begin to show up. Mercy begins to follow you. Prosperity begins to follow you. Abundance begins to follow. Good things begin to show up as you make that kind of commitment. And it doesn't matter what quality you choose because they all lead to cosmic consciousness. So it might be forgiveness. It may be that somebody has really upset you and you're really angry at someone. That's the universe saying, forgiveness. The universe is saying, show me God. And so you say, okay, so I'm making a commitment to forgive. The universe you may begin to feel like you're all alone and nobody cares. That can be a calling from the universe to say, love. And you begin to create that love inside. You know that you are love, and then you begin to spread it. And I told the earlier service this morning when I was driving in, and if you begin to think about this, if you choose a quality like love. Now, I did that this morning. It's always good to choose a quality before you get out of bed, because once you get out of bed, things start slapping you around sometimes. Time gets in the way. So you choose your quality. And so this morning, because especially I'm thinking about these ideas, I chose love. So I'm driving down the road, and I see someone beside me, and I think, wow, look at that man. Look at that man. Look at his hair. Look at his beard. I love that man. I love that man. He looks over, and I kind of put my hand up, and he kind of goes, like, who's that guy? I must know him. And then later, there's a woman over here, and I'm thinking, wow, look at that beautiful woman. What a wonderful woman. And then she looks over, and I look at her, and she smiles. And so I'm going down the road. I see some hawks flying, and I think, God, I love those hawks. And then I had the thought, maybe what would happen if I got out of the car and just did like this? Because I'm feeling it inside. Do you understand what I mean? Now, this isn't created because of pain. It's not created because of inspiration. It's created because I made a decision. I'm going to love today. And so I'm loving everybody. I'm loving everything. And I'm not special in any way at all. So you can do exactly the same thing, and signs begin to pop up. It's weird because it felt to me like people were being warmer and nicer to me. Is that really happening because of that? I don't know. But when you do that, the world changes. The world changes. Your experience of the world absolutely changes. So this is really good stuff because energy begins to pour into you, and it begins to pour through you. I said earlier about bubbling. It feels like life and enthusiasm and all of that is bubbling inside of you. In Hebrew theology in the Old Testament, the word prophet meant one who bubbles. And so it just bubbles out of you. When you do that, people would love to just hang out with you because you're putting out such a beautiful frequency. And it all starts not because you've been suffering. It starts not because somebody inspired you. It starts because you made a decision. You're the leader of your own destiny. You're the captain of your soul. You make the decision. Instead of thinking, how do I look, or is this going to happen, or what's going to happen next, you make this beautiful decision to be committed to a type of divine attribute. You know, we live in a dualistic world, so there's black and white, and there's this and there's that, and so sometimes we feel so divided, and we're crying, give me a sign so I know which way to go. But none will be given, Jesus said. He said the idea was that we focus on one of these qualities. He said it like this. He said, you want to have a single eye. He didn't mean you poke your other eye out. He meant you want to focus, just like what we're talking about, and signs will follow that exactly. And so it simply means we rise up and we say, today is going to be my day of peace. And I'm going to be giving peace to everybody. Today is my day of love, and I'm going to be giving love to everybody. Today is going to be my day of joy. I'm going to be giving it to everybody. And you're not looking at the facts, because the fact may say something else, but the facts are going to be different in an hour anyway, probably. And so you're living totally from inside yourself. This is the way to go. And if you hit a wall, you may be a little dizzy, and you'll fall back, and you'll say, oh, a choice point. I've come to a choice point. What am I going to do? And the answer is, get back to the quality. What am I going to do? Get back to the quality. I'm not going to get lost in crazy thinking. I'm going to get back exactly to the quality. I'm talking about Master Jay a lot today, but I'll just mention one other thing because it just came to mind, is that he said, even the rocks will shout out to you. Signs are everywhere. You're surrounded by spirit. But if you don't make a commitment, you may miss the whole show. And so it's time, we might say in Kentucky, it's time that we get the show on the road. It's time, and you are the show. You are the show. You are the vortex of all this energy. And so if you don't do it in your little neighborhood, who's going to do it? If you're not going to do it in your circle, who's going to do it? And so all of us have been blessed because all of us have circles. Some of us have 1 or 2 people in the circle. Some of us may have 100 people in our circle. You want to vibrate so all of those people begin to do the same thing. It changes everything. And it says the floodgates will open. Blessings will just flow and flow and flow. And you'll see signs everywhere. You're in Blockbuster. Margie says, yeah, I hate being dead. And because you've made a decision that day, it rings in a spiritual way inside of you. All kinds of wisdom will show up if you do that. And it's a waste of time just to lay on the couch and be mediocre anyway. So you have such beautiful power inside of you. And even if you're thinking, yeah, but I don't know, I don't have much willpower, I don't have much concentration, I don't know if I could do that. But willpower, I don't have much concentration, I don't know if I could do that. But you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for half a day. It's fun. Just try that. Choose your quality. Know the quality is inside of you. You're full of it. And allow it to flow through you. And then see what happens. See what happens. Segment at a time. Let's turn within. Kind of anchor what we've talked about. Okay, so today you may be saying, in your life, the facts are heavy. You may be saying, man, I'm tired of my facts. You may be saying enough is enough. And so that's a good reason to make a new decision. Or you may be thinking, wow, that was pretty good talk. I liked a couple things he said. I feel kind of inspired. I think I'm going to do this. That's a good reason to do it. Or you may not be in pain and you may thought, well, that talk was okay. But I am going to make a decision because I do want to be that vortex. And so this is a commitment day. It can be, regardless of how you got to that day. So go inside a little bit deeper and take a nice breath and choose a quality. Choose a quality for the next, let's say for the next 2 hours. You are going to radiate a quality. You're going to look for that quality everywhere. Or you can allow a quality to actually pick you. You can ask, what quality is trying to emerge in my life? What quality wants to come alive in me today? Just for the next 2 hours. And so choose a quality, and then in this moment, place your attention on that quality. Know that the quality is within you, or it wouldn't come to your mind. And embrace this quality. See yourself holding and hugging this quality. And you're allowing it to incrementally fill you up. And you're saying to yourself, in substance, I commit this day to be a day of peace. Or I commit this day to be a day of joy. Whatever your quality happens to be. Creativity, kindness, and so myself, for the next 2 hours, I commit to love. Next 2 hours, I commit to love. I think of Martin Luther King Jr., who someone came up and they spit in his face, and he took his handkerchief out and wiped it off and handed it to the man and said, I believe this is yours. And so I commit to love, and so that means if someone comes up and says something really ugly, what am I going to do for the next 2 hours? I'm going to love. I'm going to just love, 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 no matter what, love. So you have your quality. With your eyes still closed, I'm going to ask you to say your quality. You can say it loud, or you can just whisper it. But I want to ask you, when I say now, say your quality out loud. And so you commit to now. Do it one more time. Now. So the universe is responding to that. The universe is responding to that. Signs and blessings are lining up, ready to come into your life because you've made a decision. You've made a commitment to live your life really based on who you really, really are. That's perfect. Perfect. And so we say together, and so it is. Thank you very much.